Hey guys, this is EJ Holland with the Wolverine.com, and the barbecue at the Big House is officially here. That means Michigan is set to host a number of top recruits this weekend. Before we dive into that, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to the Wolverine.com today for $99.99 for 1 year or $9.99 per month. That gets you exclusive insider team information, recruiting, of course, basketball recruiting, NIL transfer portal, and so much more. With the season right around the corner and a big recruiting weekend here, now is the perfect time to sign up for the Wolverine.com. Plus, you get to be part of a great message board community with more than 8,000 unique individual users on the fort. Don't wait. Sign up for the Wolverine.com today. And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and like this video. All right, guys, we're going to be breaking down the 5 highest rated recruits using the On3 industry ranking that are set to make their way to the barbecue at the Big House this weekend. For those of you that don't know, the barbecue at the Big House is Michigan's end of July recruiting weekend. It's been a tradition for several years. It's always one of the biggest events of the summer. Now, it's usually geared towards recruits of the current cycle. So this cycle would obviously be the 2024 class. However, Michigan has 26 commits already. And that means a lot of the focus is actually going to be on underclassmen. So we're going to be breaking down the 5 highest rated 2025 recruits set to come in this weekend. That list, of course, starts off with Bryce Underwood, the nation's number 1 overall recruit and number 1 ranked quarterback out of Belleville, Michigan. Now, Underwood is making an unofficial visit to LSU on Friday and Saturday. So by the time you're listening to this, he'll already be wrapping up his LSU visit. Michigan is hopeful that he'll make it back home in time to make it to the barbecue at the Big House on Sunday. So this is going to be an all-weekend event. Michigan's going to have festivities going on Saturday and Sunday. Some recruits will be there both days. Some recruits will be there one day. They're hoping Underwood will be there on Sunday. Now, if he does make it in, that's absolutely massive. Obviously, coming off an LSU visit, LSU is the primary competition in this recruitment. Underwood has always had an eye for the South. LSU obviously has had a recent history of producing some really good quarterbacks, including Joe Burrow, and that's something that's really appealing to Underwood. However, he's made it to Michigan almost double-digit times over the past year, if not double-digit times. He has a great relationship with new quarterbacks coach Kirk Campbell. He knows he can come in and compete for the starting job right away. You know, behind J.J. McCarthy, there isn't exactly an heir apparent to the throne at the quarterback position. So the opportunity to come in and start day one is there for Underwood. I think this is a Michigan-LSU battle early on, and we'll see how things kind of progress over the next several months, including this weekend, as he could potentially see both of those schools. Now, Underwood is set to make a decision on January 9th, so still plenty of time for Michigan to continue to get him on campus and work on this recruitment, because it is going to be a tough one. I do think Michigan has done a much better job with Underwood than they did with previous 5-star in-state quarterback Dante Moore, who obviously ended up going out west to UCLA. So again, I think this one is a Michigan-LSU battle, with this being a very critical weekend. The next recruit on the list is David Sanders, 5-star offensive tackle, actually the number 1 offensive tackle in the country and the number 5 overall recruit nationally out of Providence Day School in Charlotte, North Carolina. Same school as Michigan commits Jaden Davis and Channing Goodwin. In fact, Channing Goodwin's father, Jonathan Goodwin, who played at Michigan, is David Sanders' position coach at Providence Day. Also, Michigan was the first school to ever offer Sanders. They've been trying to get him on campus since forever, and Sanders has never made it to Ann Arbor. He has expressed interest in visiting Michigan, and those plans have always fallen through. Now, Sanders is visiting Georgia and Alabama this weekend as well. By the time you're listening to this, he should be wrapping up his Alabama visit. Much like Bryce Underwood, Michigan is hoping he'll make his way from the South to Ann Arbor on Sunday. So right now, Sanders, like Underwood, is a maybe for Sunday, but we're including him here because he has said that he is doing everything possible to make his way to Michigan on Sunday. Now, even if Sanders does make it to Michigan on Sunday, this is going to be an uphill battle for the Wolverines. Like I said, they were the first school on him. They've had multiple opportunities to host him for a visit, and it hasn't come into fruition. So I think this is more of a Southern battle right now. Alabama and Georgia are very high on his mind. So is Clemson. So is South Carolina. So I think right now Michigan has a lot of work to do, and it starts with getting him on campus on Sunday and making a huge impression on him and his family. The third recruit on the list is DJ Pickett, the number 1 safety in the country and the number 8 overall recruit nationally out of Zephyr Hills in Florida, right in the central Florida region, right outside of about an hour outside of Tampa. I went down there this spring, had a chance to spend some time with Pickett, and man, he loves Michigan. This will be his second unofficial visit in as many months. He was actually on campus last month in June. This will be his third visit overall. Now, the thing about Pickett is, you look at 5-star, number 1 safety in the country, and you don't think a lot of optimism for a kid out of Florida. But Pickett's a little different. He has family, really close family, in the state of Michigan. He actually told me he considers the University of Michigan kind of a second home. Like I said, he's been there often. He visits his family in the state pretty often as well. So I think Michigan really does have a legitimate chance here. In fact, I think Michigan and Georgia are the 2 schools at the top. Others like Florida, Florida State, Ohio State are in the mix as well. But Michigan and Georgia have kind of separated themselves from the pack. Alabama is another school that I forgot to mention that's obviously in there. But I do think Michigan and Georgia are those early front runners. Now, this weekend will be big for Pickett because he'll have an opportunity to spend time with Michigan commit Chris Ewald, who has kind of become the leader of the 2025 class early on. Ewald and Pickett, both from Florida, and are both very good friends. Ewald has been making him his top overall target to get him on board with him at Michigan. So I think that Ewald-Pickett connection will grow stronger this weekend. On top of that, Steve Klingscale and Jay Harbaugh will both spend extended time with Pickett throughout the weekend. While Pickett's listed as a safety, and that's why Jay will be involved, Michigan's also looking at him as a corner. He's 6'2", 170 pounds, so he can be that taller corner that Michigan likes. He runs really, really well for his size. But what makes Pickett super special is the length, man. This guy has a tremendous wingspan. You can really put him anywhere in the secondary, and he can be elite. I think the opportunity would be there for him to come in and start day one, and that's another appealing aspect for Michigan. The next recruit on the list is Andrew Marsh, the number 5 wide receiver in the country and number 16 overall recruit nationally out of Katy, Texas, Jordan High. Andrew Marsh is a fantastic wideout. I had a chance to go out to the Houston area in the spring and spend some time with Marsh. He's really, really interested in what Michigan has to offer both on and off the field. He's a high academic kid. He seems like a really, really good culture fit. His interest in Michigan has increased exponentially since I visited him in the spring. Actually, he made his way to Michigan for his first ever unofficial visit in late May. A couple of days later, he had a chance to attend Michigan's satellite camp in Detroit and work closely with Michigan wide receivers coach Ron Bellamy, who is making him a top priority, obviously. Marsh is that elite pass catcher that Michigan so desperately desires. And like I said, he's expressed a lot of interest in Michigan early on. 2 visits in the span of 3 months is absolutely massive for the Wolverines. I think they get him back on campus in the fall and remain big players in this recruitment. Now, all the big regional powers are obviously in it. LSU, Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma. But Marsh has at least shown a willingness to leave his home region and is taking a really hard look at Michigan. The last recruit on our list is Dorian Brew, the number 6 wide receiver nationally and number 33 overall prospect in the country out of Clayton, Ohio, Northmont. He is also the number 1 overall recruit in the state of Ohio next cycle. Michigan trying to pull him out of enemy territory. Brew does have a program connection here. He is from the same high school that produced Michigan safety Rod Moore. Now, Ohio State is considered the overwhelming favorite in this recruitment. Notre Dame is another school high on his list. But with the Rod Moore connection and Brew already having made a couple of visits in the past, I think Michigan has a legitimate chance to make a move here, especially if they really impress this weekend. I think he's the bigger wide receiver that Michigan really, really wants. They didn't land a bigger wide receiver this cycle, at least not yet. So next cycle, it's imperative for Michigan to add some size to the wide receiver room. At 6'3", 175 pounds, Brew definitely offers some height. He is a special talent. He's a top 100 recruit across the board on all 4 major services. And like I said, I think that Rod Moore connection will help, especially with how much Rod Moore has excelled at Michigan. Being a guy that was mostly considered a high 3-star across the board to being one of the faces of the defense. I think that speaks volumes of Michigan's ability to develop, which will certainly be a pitch to Brew. But on top of that, Rod Moore has also become a face of the Michigan-Ohio State rivalry. That picture with him and Jackson Smith, Nigba, has kind of gone viral. It's one of the pictures that's always used every year from now on. And so I think that Rod Moore's hatred for Ohio State will definitely carry over on this visit. I wouldn't be surprised if Moore spends some time with Brew throughout the weekend. So those are the 5 highest rated recruits set to come into Michigan this weekend. We'll have updates all weekend long. I know everybody will be curious to see if Underwood and Sanders do make it in on Sunday. So we will have updates over at thewolverine.com. We will have a ton of scoop coming in as well. And I feel pretty good, man. I think that there's some possibility for some good news as well. So tune into that. Continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're a subscriber, we appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to like this video and also subscribe to thewolverine.com today for $99 for 1 year or $9.99 per month.